this is, for him personally, I just want to remind people about how great he was individually. Those teams in Sacramento were a disaster, and people blame Boogie for it. He had his first 7 years in Sacramento, I believe, a combination of 18 point guards, coaches, GMs. Nobody can succeed that way. Nobody. He gave you 25, 13, and 4 and was All-NBA. Then he gave you 27, 12, and 3 and was All-NBA. Then the season he was traded, he gave you 27, 11, and 5, and then the season that he was on the best team he was on in New Orleans, that second, the first full season in New Orleans, when they're en route to the playoffs, he gave you 25, 13, and 5, and then he popped his Achilles. And everything that has happened from that moment, and the irony of Boogie, who the criticism early in his career, one of them was, doesn't play hard all the time, doesn't go after loose balls. He pops his Achilles going after a loose ball. And then he does what he calls his chess move and takes a way under market value deal to show he can be a winner, not a distraction.
In the hope that he would then land a big deal.
Cash in. And
be a team player.
Absolutely. And played really well when he came back with the Warriors, especially that last month. And then going for a loose ball again tears his quad. Hurts his value even more by fighting his way back from that injury, showing up in the finals, looking like he can't jump over a phone book. Now he has signed another under market value deal, and working out in the offseason blows his knee out. And so Boogie Cousins was on a Hall of Fame track. That to me is over. His days as an all-star, all-NBA player are almost assuredly over. And this probably cost him upwards of, all in, about $200 million.
Wow.
And it's just personally devastating. And for Boogie, who's dealt with a lot of stuff, I just don't, dealing with this level of disappointment financially, professionally, and personally would be hard for anyone. And I wish him the best in what has to be some of the darkest moments of his professional life.
Yeah, and it's been noted, too, that Boogie has struggled with as far as his mental health. He's gotten some help. He's reached out. He's been trying to make strides as far as that. He's very, very conscious of it. And in the world that he lives in, man, when you lose that type of money, it alters your career. But you're talking about generational type of money. The disappointment, I can't imagine what it is. I really can't. So for me, my concern is not with the Lakers. My concern is with Boogie Cousins, the man. Because there's a lot of people that play sports. But, man, for me, when I bump into these people, a lot of time you can see the disappointment in, did they fulfill their potential? Did they get all out of their career, all out of the talent that God gave them? And this right here, man, you're talking about a talented center. You're talking about a guy can shoot it, guy can dribble, guy can pass, guy can make it happen. Like, Sacramento almost ruined his career, and he put up remarkable numbers there. Right when he was getting ready to cash in there in New Orleans, he gets hurt. So for me, I go back to the kid. I know Coach Cal. Him and Coach Cal are really good friends. And Coach Cal has taught me a lot about Boogie. That's had a lot of respect because I know some of the things that he struggled with off the court. So for me, that's the guy that I think about. I think about Boogie the man, not Boogie the basketball player. So
now that we've talked about Boogie the man, let's switch gears and talk about Boogie the basketball player and what this means for the basketball team, the Lakers. How does this affect them?
So I think I'm going to probably be a bit of an outlier on this because I was a bit of an outlier when the Lakers were going through free agency and saying I wouldn't target Boogie Cousins. And because I think they are going to be at their best when Anthony Davis is forced into playing the 5, and I think they had, and they still have to a degree, too many guys that expect to play at the end of games. Too many guys that would expect to play big minutes. So I think the Lakers, if Vogel reshuffles the rotation, can deal with this. I think they aren't as talented, but they also might fit a little bit. They will fit differently, but I think they can. Their best lineup to me, the end of the game lineup, was not one that was going to include Boogie Cousins anyway. Obviously, this is a player that once they missed out on Kawhi, they did target. They did feel differently about him than I did. But I don't look at this as an injury they can't overcome because I wasn't looking at Boogie as being a huge contributor to them going into the season. It does mean JaVale McGee will play more, and it will mean Anthony Davis will have to, even though he doesn't like to, play more center than they were planning on.
If the Lakers are going to win a championship, their odds didn't increase with Boogie getting hurt.
Correct.
I don't care if you like Boogie, don't like Boogie, just for the sheer fact, if they were getting ready to sign Boogie and they decided, you know something, we're not going to sign him, they would have those dollars available. So also, you know Boogie Cousins, where he going to be doing his rehab? In Los Angeles. He's going to be traveling around with that team. He's going to be communicating with that team. So typically, you would think as a veteran, oh, that might help. I can't guarantee you that. As he sits out another season, as the Lakers try to position themselves for a championship, he don't even know how that's going to go. So for me, it hurts overall. It's something that they have to watch for, all right? Because if the Lakers at full strength, I want Boogie Cousins out there. I want the option of it because he's got a pull on the defense. You might not respect anything about Boogie Cousins, but let me tell you something. When he cross half court, you better guard him. And there is no one on their roster, and there's not any free agents out there that can put up the offensive firepower that Boogie Cousins, when he's healthy, that he can do. So his offensive productivity, it can't be replaced.
Well, and the adjustment for Anthony Davis to the Lakers, he liked playing with Boogie.
Sure.
Like Davis, Rondo, and Boogie coming together, reuniting after they had that brief time together in New Orleans and went well. That is negative. That is obviously a negative.
Sure.
And to Chris's point, I think the most important word is options. This does remove an option for the Lakers. This does remove a potential beginning of the second quarter lineup that would have been focused on Boogie Cousins. It does, to me, it can make their starting lineup make a little more sense, add another guard, remove one of the big people, but it does remove one of their options that clearly they valued. And Chris, right, you don't get these salary cap dollars back. Just because the guy gets hurt, he still counts against your cap the exact same.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.